Okay, so it's important to keep in mind that the point of the title block is to communicate information, and whatever information you deem necessary is the appropriate information within reason. Things that should always appear on the title block are the title of the show, the director, the scenic designer, the technical director, and then typically a place to indicate who has drawn the thing. Some will include places for revisions, others will include a logo. It's very much up to you which thing you want to do. Um, my title blocks are based on those that I've seen in other places before. So, I think you've probably seen this one where there's a space for the unit that this plate is being drawn for, and then other pertinent information. The plot date is usually really helpful, so that if you're doing multiple iterations of the same thing, then you can see exactly when. Some of this stuff is not important. Like this thing right here, this is entirely based on the theater that I was at the time, where they had inventory codes because they just did. Um, this also has a space for revisions here. Um, Having the file path is useful, although this, for whatever reason, is kind of screwed up, so it's a little bit annoying. Um, yeah. And then I like to put a frame around the page. I just think it looks nice and clean. Other people don't. It's up to you. The location within the page is also entirely up to you. A lot of people, and like traditionally, the title block would have gone in the bottom right hand corner. I like to put it here because if you roll it up and then you roll it with this, so typically with drafting, you roll things up with the short edge, along the short edge, and you roll with the drawing out. So if you roll this up, the project title and then what it is are easy to find. So there's that. For this one, this is heavily based on one that my friend made. Um, Again, you see a lot of the same stuff. Show title, venue is a nice thing to include, all of that fun stuff. I'm sure you're super familiar with this one as well. This one is a lot more automated than the last one, like than that previous one. You can see that there's a bunch of things that just get dropped in there automatically. This is all based on just variables that the program stores automatically that you can pull from a database, and I can show you how to do that in a minute. These are for two different styles of plating. So, this one, this is on a 24 by 36 sheet, which means I'm going to be putting a whole bunch of stuff on a single sheet. You're going to have like an orthographic view of multiple things, probably. This one is designed to be one unit, one sheet, one unit, one sheet. So you're only doing an ortho view of one thing on any given page. And how you choose to do that is entirely up to you. This one is the exact same as the one on 11 by 17, just smaller, because, you can shrink things. It's good times. I would say one of the best ways to learn what you like on title blocks is to go and look at people's title blocks. There's lots of really good examples in the textbook has some good examples, actually. There's a drafting book that you're welcome to look through. And even just finding things online, you can find stuff that you will find pertinent. But relative to where the heck to start, I like to start by drawing a rectangle that is the size of the page that I'm going to be drawing on, just so that I know. So in this case, let's do 11 by 17. So that's actually 17 by 11, like that. So, and I'm doing this in model space just because it's a heck of a lot easier to work in model space than it is to work in paper space. But, it is what it is. So the next thing I'm going to do is ask myself, do I want a frame or not? And if I do, I'm going to use the offset command. So I think most printers today will print with like a 3/8 margin or 1/4 inch margin. I think the printer in my office will print with a 1/4 inch margin. Let me just see where that one goes. Yeah, that's a 1/4 inch margin. And that one works pretty well. So I'm actually just going to do an offset command here. Set the offset distance to 1/4 inch. And I can see which direction I'm offsetting to. So that's to the outside, that's to the inside. Click, boom, there I have my collar. Okay, the next thing is going to be to start putting in, you know, the shape of whatever the thing is. In this case, let's say that we're going to put our title block here. And like, honestly, I'm just arbitrarily choosing that so that I can show you, like start showing you things. I like to do this with rectangles. I don't know why, I just do. And I'm going to say it's going to be 1 inch wide. That might even be a lot. Like, it very much depends on the size of your page. But I'm going to use my point filters, go up here, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to say that that wants to be, oh, like 1.25 inches. Oh no, booty. All right. How about this? I'm going to make a rectangle. I'm going to put it ha-cha. I'm going to move it this way and make it do what I want. So what did I say? 1.25. There's that. Now I'm just going to use this, and I'm literally just like stretching the thing. Okay, so that's going to be my outside border. And now I need to think about all the stuff that needs to go in there as well. Things like a scale indicator, title block, or title of the show. Let's say I'm going to have a space here for a logo, and I'm going to make that 1.25 by 1.25. Boom, logo space. I'm going to copy that again and say maybe I want space for a, I don't know. Maybe this is where I'm going to put the title of the show. So that can be, like, make that pretty big. Let's make that 4 inches, something like that. Is it actually 4 inches? I don't know. About to find out. Oh no, it's not. Okay. That's probably 4 inches. 4 inches. Okay. And then, you know, fill in this with other stuff that you want in there. Things like, oh, you know what? At some point, I think I probably would switch to just a line. So I'm going to put this there, and I'm going to move it down some consistent distance. Maybe make that 1/2 inch. That looks okay. I'm going to go and trim that, and I'm going to copy this. You know, and now I have space to put other stuff. You can also, like, let's go ahead and start filling in some blanks. So you can, oh, I should get into blocks too. One thing that is going to be very important is a consistent, like, sheet naming system. So, you know, if this is sheet, you know, 001 or 100 or, you know, 01-01 or whatever, then that information tends to want to be down here somewhere. So let's go ahead and create something like that. Let's say that that lives in this section here. I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a block. There's a lot of other information that I would put on here. I would make this way fussier. I would spend a lot more time on this, but I'm really just trying to kind of hit the highlights. So I'm not going to select this page border because I don't need to, but I am going to say create a block. So type block to create blocks. And then it's going to ask me what this is going to be called. I'm going to call this new title block, just to not confuse it with my old title block. And I'm going to pick a point where I want to be the insertion point. I'm actually going to make that point this bottom corner so that when I insert it into a space, I can grab that little handle and I will put it at 0, 0, and it will line up perfectly on my page. It's a nice trick. It's good times. Okay, so now that this is a block, when I select it, you will notice that this all behaves as one single thing. It's great. Lovely. We love it. Now I'm going to start a different command, which is the bedit command, block edit, bedit. Hit enter. It's going to ask you which one, and typically it will select the thing that you've already selected. Just hit OK. And now that takes you into this where it is, ignore that please, where it is where you're based on block stuff. So the thing that lets you like double click into something and then change information is called attributes. So this is a place where you can take that, and I'm going to put in the tag and then put in information and whatever. So let's talk through this. So this is going to be my sheet number. This all has to be single word, all caps, otherwise it gets grumpy. The prompt, so when it pops up the menu, this is what will appear in the menu. So I'm going to put sheet number. I personally, by the way, prefer to not put this in all caps because I feel like my block is then yelling at me, and I just find that really frustrating. So there's that. If there's going to be a value that you're going to use more often than not, that's where you put that in the default number thing, and then you fill in the rest of this. So justification is like when you know that little grippy thing that pops up, the little blue square. The justification will indicate where that is relative to the writing. In this case, because I'm putting it in the middle of that thing, I'm actually going to select middle center for that. Text style, that can be whatever you want to. I'm just going to use my standard one, which is like a different font than normal. And then, let's see, lock position, don't want that. This number here is going to be based, this text height number will be based on this information. You can change it later. Cool. And then the rest of these, I'm going to leave all those, whatever they are. Rotation will turn it 90 degrees if you want it to. I don't want to do that right now. So I'm just going to click OK. And then it's going to give me this little thing, and I'm going to drop it exactly where I want it. In this case, I'm going to put it there. And you'll notice that it immediately clicked to the center so that this thing is centered on this open space. Now, that the size of that is really, really small. So I'm going to go in here to my properties. If you don't have that menu already readily available in your sidebar over there, you can type properties or props, and it will pop that up. So notice that's up here it says attribute definition. That's because that's what's selected. And now I'm going to go through and I'm going to find things that I want to change. So let's say that I want this to actually be 1/4 of an inch tall. You notice that changing that there changes this. You can also change most of the settings that you had in there before, and you can change them in your properties menu here. This is the easiest and fastest way to do those things. Something to note is that like boundary width is not a thing that you can change in here. And I don't know why, and I don't know why it pops up this calculator, but it doesn't do anything, and it's annoying. So I don't get it, but that's a thing. Okay, so now you would go through and then add in anywhere where you want somebody else's input, like somebody else's information. Let's say that up here you want to have, I'm going to put in a space for the director. So I've typed that in, and you'll notice that it's like all the way the hell up in this corner, and that's like ugly and gross. So like literally the best way to move it is to like put it somewhere else. Put a little rectangle here that is the dimensions that you want your inset to be. So like 1/32 by 1/32. And now you take this little thing right there, you click in right there, and boom, there it is. Get rid of the square. Now it's exactly placed where you want it to go. And let's say that you want to put the name of the director here. I'm going to do another another block attribute definition. I'm going to say director name. I'm going to do this in all caps because I like it that way. Director name. I'm going to say director name, and I'm going to leave that blank. I'm going to leave this as justified left, so this will give me specifically, or I'm actually going to make it top left. So actually, no, I'm going to make it bottom left. And I have logical reasons why. Bottom left. That, yes. All the things. Huzzah. And I'm going to drop it right here. Again, I'm going to use that rectangle trick, or that square trick. So rectangle, 1/32, 1/32. If you are someone who does not care about that kind of thing, then don't bother with all this specificity. I am a person that cares one could argue too much. So I do care about that specificity, so I'm going to do something about it. Okay, so assume that there's a whole bunch of other stuff in here. Whatever other information you want to include would be put in there. And you can go there. And now you'll come in here and you'll go, huh, that's interesting. I don't see anything different. That's because this needs to be regenerated, or, oh no, it's not regen. It's attribute sync. So you type at sync and it says, which one do you want us to sync? That means attribute synchronize. Select the block, say yes, and now it should be there. And now I can click in and you can see that all of that stuff that I had before is now here and available. So the sheet number is going to be like 100 and the director name is going to be Why Mama. Yep, it's a your mom joke. Okay, so now that I see this in real life, I look at this and I go, huh, that looks really small and sad. So I'm going to go back in and edit it. I'm going to double click on this thing. Oh, just kidding. I'm going to select this thing and go back into B-Edit. And now I'm going to look at this and go, yeah, that makes sense that that's way too small. So let's make this 1/2. I have a 1/5. 1/2. That seems jumbo size. And you'll notice again that this is like that. Let's see what happens if I do type regen. Nothing. At sync. Select it. There we go. It's definitely at sync. At sync is what you want. Good old at sync. And that's basically the process that you go through. So any text that you don't want to edit, you enter in the block as just text and it will appear. And then anything that you do want to be able to edit just by clicking on it, where you want that window to pop up, that can be done here. That happens as an attribute definition. Let's say that you get all done and you're like, I would love for this to click through in a particular order and I didn't do it in the right order, so now it's out of order. You can adjust that by going to, this is my favorite command of all, Batman, ba-na-na-na-na-na-na. Sorry, I can resist. And then you have to go in here, select the block that you want to edit. So let's look at new title block and you can see here that there's two different options. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Hello. And let's just say that we want the director name to be higher. So I'm going to hit up, and I'm going to hit sync, then I'm going to hit OK. And now when I double click on this, the name of the director should be above, which it is. Look at that. So that's the basics. There's a lot of other things that you can do with blocks. Oh, let me show you this other thing. Let's go back into B-Edit. This might take me a second to figure out because I don't do it very often. But if you go into attribute definition and you say you want to do like your plot date or your plot, yeah, let's say plot date is a thing that you want to automatically generate. Plot date. It will need to have a space for it. But here in the default, you can say, you can click on this little tab, and this is the insert field tab, which will pop up this, it's going to pop up this thing. And now you can click here, and I believe if you go to maybe document, this is interesting. This is actually a thing that I think I entered this myself, but I have no idea where or how. Linked, hyperlink, no. Objects. You can tell that I don't do this very often. Other. Oh, there we go. Nope, system variable is what I want. Okay, so this gets you to system variables. This is stuff that this thing is automatically saving. And this will let you do some fun stuff. So you just have to figure out which one is for what. I believe I'm going to scroll down to where it says like plot something. Thankfully, these are for the most part labeled pretty intuitively. Working, hold please. Oh, maybe plot time isn't on there. Okay. Oh, it was under a really logical place called date and time. My goodness. So select plot date and then the format in which you want it. Let's say it's that one. Click yes, click OK. And then I'm going to place this arbitrarily right there. I'm going to do a regen. Nope, I'm going to do an @sync. Select the block. Ooh. And you can see that this thing pops up there. It's popping up as blank because I haven't plotted it yet. But if I plot it, just click. Be about it. Now all of a sudden, as soon as I plot it, this pops up. And this ugly thing is going to go away. But yeah, there you go. So it does take a little bit of like combing through things. It's helpful to know which thing you're looking for. And if you're not sure what to call it, Google is your friend in this situation. Like, I don't know how many times I've Googled something like, AutoCAD sheet label system variable. And sometimes it's really helpful and sometimes it isn't. But you can find lots of things. I don't know. Anyway, maybe that was a bad example. So anyway, poke around, see what stuff is there. Yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily, especially if you're going to be plating on 11 by 17, I don't know that I would make my block part of the frame. Like I intentionally didn't because of the amount of times that I have done this and like turned it 90 degrees. And then I just drop this into the corner like that. And I adjust this. So all of this other stuff, like all of these notes and things that have all these fun little handles, those are like a second layer of complexity with your blocks, which is, figure out your title block first. And then we'll play with this. Although I have to say that this one is one that I'm particularly proud of. Look at that. Expands both sides very, very symmetrically. We love it. And also spinny. We love it. Okay. I'm gonna stop. Holler if you have questions. Peace.